Yeah. Okay, hello. So Baruch Hashem, we are back, and we're going to go into the paragraph number 7. So paragraph number 7, if you guys remember, talks about the fifth level. The fifth level of Hahispaalus. And the fourth level was machshava. No, that was kavana of the heart, right? Kavana of the leif. And what was so special about it? That the more the person does his binah, the more his heart is aroused. So it's not like that by third level that whenever he does his binah, he has to actually stop his binah, force the conclusion, and that conclusion will be the basis of his Hahispaalus. Now, in the fourth level, it was not like that. It was exactly the opposite. The more he engages in his binah, the more Hahispaalus he'll have in his heart. So now this fifth level, it's actually a very, very interesting level because it has nothing to do with his binah. And the fifth level is higher than all of the above. Shehu b'chinas haratzon hapashut shelo, which is the aspect of his inner will, which is a simple inner will. And this level is far above contemplation altogether. And not only that it's higher than his binah, it's actually higher of the intellect itself. Wow. And even above the source of intellect, which is called maskil, as we all know. We'll learn this about in Shara Yehud class, where we discussed about this level of chochmah maskil, which is the higher than chochmah and higher than chochmah stima, the hidden chochmah, and this is the source of all intellect, which is a very, very high level. The level of the will, the level of the Ratzon, is even higher than this level, which is called maskil. Okay, rak Ratzon עצמי ופשוט. What does this mean? It is nothing but an essential, simple will. Okay, wow. Umachmasei nolad v'nistayev haseichel, and from which the intellect itself is born and unfolds. Kayedua v'dal. So we are really talking about an exceptionally high level, which is the level of being, right? And the desire that is being born from that. And this is the level that actually affects the intellect. Intellect actually branches out from this place. That even, right, the will is above even the source of the intellect, called maskil, as stated above. But nevertheless, will is the cause of intellect. Okay? Very interesting. So now anybody who will tell you that I am a very objective person, it's impossible to be objective, right? Because we are always going to be subjective to our will. Okay? And based on what we want, our mind is a slave for the will. So based on what we want, essentially, that's how our mind is guided in relationship to the will. It's a very fancy word in Aramaic, which I unfortunately do not know. As is known from the principle, if one desires, the intellect inclines accordingly, right? If I desire for something, my mind automatically will start working because it's a slave to my master, which is my will. Okay? Shaharatzon poil atias koach hamaskil. For will directs and inclines the power of the maskil, which is, I don't know, to me, when I read this, this is like, wow. And this is exactly the reason why Mitel Rebbe told one of his Hasidim, Rabbi Kusil Lepler, when he came to him, that he complained to him that it's hard for him to learn the Mitel Rebbe's Chassidus. And it's a famous saying, Shum davar la oimed bifnei haratzon, right? Nothing stands in front of the will. Yeah, because the will is a king, right? This is part of our crown, right? It's part of our keser. This is our crown. As we learned in Shar Yichud, the Ratzon is external part of the keser. And now we see how powerful it is, how powerful our will is. The oneg, the tanug, the pleasure is the inner aspect of the Ratzon, right? Because what do you want? What a person wants, what brings them pleasure. Okay, so that's how they work together. So now this will, this essential will, directs and inclines the power of the maskil, the power of conceptualization, which is like, wow. Okay, causing the intellect to think and reveal understanding according to the will. Okay, so now, if somebody wants to be something, right? He wants to be a poet, one wants to be a doctor, the other one wants to be a lawyer, okay? So they're not born with this intellect, right? They have a desire to be what they want to be, and the intellect shapes accordingly. Because you have to have a certain mind to be an artist. You have to have a certain mind to be this or to be that, right? And they're all very different. You have to have a different personality. Yeah. Artists are a certain type and teachers are a certain type. And you see we have similarities, right? So then what is it? So that's the Ratzon. The Ratzon wants something. So the whole entire body shapes up. Okay? Does that make sense? So far? And therefore it is correct to say that the intellect is born and derived from this will. As we know, there is a difference between, okay, to have ila, a direct cause, or siba, which is enabling cause. Okay, a lot of times people might say like, oh, I don't see. What's the connection between the will and the brain? Well, because a direct cause is a lower level. This one is coming from this. Now the siba is a more abstract, but without that, it's an enabling cause, right? It's without that, nothing will be happening, right? Nothing comes if there's no will. And you know, it's so funny. When I just finished my master's, I worked as a special education teacher in early intervention. Okay? And in early intervention, there is a term which is called failure to thrive. It's interesting. But there are a number of children, which is causes are unknown. They do not thrive. What do you mean? They don't have a desire to thrive. And because of this lack of desire to thrive, they don't develop. They don't want, because in healthy children, we see a beautiful thing. What do we see? They see you smiling at them, they want to copy you, right? They see you standing up. The whole first year, they are working on one mission. One of the missions is to stand up like mommy and tati, whatever I see, right? So they're gonna be doing all kinds of different movements, crawling, sitting, cruising, and then eventually walking. And that desire, this determination that little babies have is a very natural thing. And we as parents don't think that deeply into that desire. We're like, oh, it's so cute. The kid is smiling, this and that. But then when you see a bunch of children, they don't care. They don't want to do that. And you see this 18-month-old just laying down and doesn't want to get up, doesn't want to move, doesn't want to like explore the world. There is no that essential desire. And it's called failure to thrive. Right? It's a very, very scary thing. And part of our job is to stimulate the brain enough so they will have that desire, that to awaken that essential desire to thrive. That will be pushing the development. So this is what we're talking about, right? It's a very, very interesting thing. That's a siba. That's an enabling cause. What is enabling? It opens up everything. If a person has, I don't know what he wants. I don't know. Just name it. He wants something. Okay. If it's a true and essential desire, he will figure it out. He will figure out the ways. For example, if a soldier, right? Hopefully he is a healthy soldier. And if he is a healthy soldier, he has an essential desire to live. It's not a conscious desire. It's just essential desire. Okay, so now that desire will enable his chushim, as well in Shar Yechud, that is how Ratzon opens up is through chushim. Chushim is a senses. Okay, so these chushim are gonna be so refined that they'll be able to hear things, that they'll be able to act in a certain way or figure out things, see that there is somebody right behind that wall that tries to kill them. Things that we ordinary citizens may not necessarily develop because we don't know. For example, we see in all kinds of different tribes in olden days and in current days, they could hear bird fly because whatever, like because they go hunting, so they could sense the animals that they're hiding, or the survival mechanism is so strong. Like animals, for example, I don't know, elephants, they could feel water 6 miles away. That's like, wow, I don't sense water 6 miles away because I don't need to for my survival. For elephants that live in hot climates, who knows where, they need that survival mechanism, otherwise they'll die. So this is what we're talking about. This essential desire develops the chushim. And therefore, that's enabling cause, right? So the will enable the mind to do everything in its power to deliver what the will wants. Okay? And paragraph 8. We're going to move there. So with that, we finished. So we're talking about the 5th level is being on the level of the Ratzon, right? So now what is he going to do? He's going to summarize in general about everything what we have learned. Hashem Begufam, right? And in the end, the Mittel Rebbe is going to be summarizing briefly the 5 of the above levels, and they exist in those who serve God with the bodies. Okay, so as we said earlier in the 1st chapter, that there are 2 ways to serve Hashem, with our bodies and with our neshama. Of the Hashem Begufam, this is when our animal soul gets excited about God. And that's how she evolves through the Hisbonenus. Simultaneously, our godly soul also evolves, but differently. And we're going to learn that, Bezrat Hashem, in the 3rd chapter. Right? In our current chapter, we are only discussing the development of the animal soul. Right? That the level of acknowledgement, okay, in the intellect and firm resolve in the heart is called the level of nefesh. Okay, so on the level of nefesh, on this lowest level, one second. Hi. What is that? Yeah, close. Thank you. So on the level of nefesh, this is Sorry, I just need a piece for the. Yeah, just 1 second. Yes, so the first level was on the level of nefesh, right? And that's the basic acknowledgement. When the person does the Hahispaalus, this is the basic acknowledgement that, I don't know when my hands goes up, I don't know, whatever. Okay, so it's the basic acknowledgement in the intellect, which is a firm resolution to follow the ways of Torah. And this is on the level of nefesh. It's only pertaining to an action. Then the level of machshava tova, right? B'chinas machshava tova kanal, sheyesh ba chayut rav yoter nikra b'chinas ruach. Right? The level of good thought, which contains greater vitality, is called the level of ruach. Val zamar toichen ruchos Hashem chulu. Chen ruach hu be'enosh. Right? Regarding this is said, Hashem weighs, the spirit. And indeed, the spirit is within man. The ruach is with enosh, the level of enosh, meaning there's Adam, Ish, enosh, Gever, right? All corresponding to different levels of the neshama. Obchinas moichin the chochmah binah pa'alim ava v'hira b'hidgalus b'lev v'nikra b'chinas neshama. So then, after the person is engaging deeper into the Hahispaalus, the level of chochmah and binah that produce love and fear revealed in the heart is called the level of neshama. And regarding this, it says Hashem weighs the heart. Nishmas shakai tevinam binah li badavka. Right? And the soul given by the Almighty grants the understanding. For understanding is specifically connected to the heart. Hainu bechinas tuvuna sheshayach lelev, and that is the life force of tuvuna, which belongs to the heart. You get those of us who were in Shari Yichud, they know exactly what tuvuna represents and the difference between tuvuna and binah. Bechinas chochmah binah, and the aspect of chochmah binah atzma, mashakos of bilti hispashtos belev. And the level of chochmah and binah themselves is explained without spreading into the heart, meaning there is an aspect of moichin, of chochmah and binah, before it involves any emotional arousal. Rak halev nichlal b'moach, nikra b'chinas kavana, right? Where the heart is included within the intellect. It's called the level of kavana. V'nikra b'chinas chaya, right? And this is the level of chaya. Now, b'chinas Yechida b'madrega hahi, and the level of Yechida corresponds to the fifth level. V'hu haratzon עצמי הפשוט, and this is the essential and simple will. And when I read this, what really fascinates me in this whole thing is that we are talking about the level of the nefesh habahamis. We're not talking about the godless soul. We are talking about the level of animal soul. So a person, that was my question. I was like, what? Chaya and Yechida are on the level of the Nefesh HaBahamis, meaning Nefesh HaBahamis has shaychus, has connections to the level of Chaya and Yechida. For me, it was really, really fascinating. Because the three lower levels is known that it's being enclosed in the body. That is known. Okay, so they correspond, the mind, the heart, the action. So there's no novelty in that. But the fact that our Chaya and Yechida are connected with that, for me, it was like a big chiddush. Shelemala afilu mitam hakasum Ra'tzon shu makor ha'seichel. And this is above even the hidden reason within the will, which is the source of intellect as explained above. Ki ein tam l'ratzon klal. For will itself have absolutely no reason. V'dam. Okay? So these are the 5 levels. Okay? So any questions pertaining to the text at the moment?
Yeah, sure. I got a lot of questions. So where's this will coming from? The essential will.
It's coming from Yechida. That's what he just said. It corresponds to the level of Yechida, because that's why do you think, what does this mean? One level corresponds to this level. What's the meaning behind it? Like, for example, the level of action corresponds to the level of nefesh. Okay, what does this mean? This means that the actions are coming from this level of the neshama.
That's the starting point. That's the source. That's not a higher up, like from Hashem.
That's revelation for sure. Well, everything eventually comes from Hashem, but we want to see how it comes from Hashem. On the bringing down, it stops through these stations. Hashem created such a complex structure. I mean, for so many years, people tried to figure it out. It's already over 5,000 years, and we're still struggling, trying to understand what's where,
Wait, so all we know is that it's coming.
What?
Sorry, it's coming. All we know is that it's coming from the Yechida.
Now, the Ratzon HaPashut, he just mapped it. Okay, so what I wanted to do with you guys today is to actually, let me share my screen, is to actually map out I'm doing this fancy things just in case. You see, I'm here. It's just apparently I'm playing with my Zoom. Okay, so as you can see here, right, these are 5 levels of Hahispaalus, and we're going to fill them out, right? So we know the names of the Hahispaalus, right? We have Achoisi, my sister. That's what we learned before. Rayasi, Yonasi, and Tamasi. You know this nigun. Right? So this is not just like nice song. It actually represents levels of our relationship with Hashem. On what level of perception we see Hashem stands. And based of that awareness, we're going to have the Hahispaalus, right? If I think that you are my sister, okay, I'm going to have a certain level of Hahispaalus towards you, right? If I think you are a stranger, I'm going to have a different level of Hahispaalus towards you. Nothing personal, but that's where we keep people, you understand? Like if somebody's my spouse, obviously I'm going to have a different level of Hahispaalus towards them, right? If somebody's my parent, it's different. We can't expect that a stranger from the street is going to be treated like my spouse, right? Hopefully that's not what happens, right? Or my spouse is going to be treated like a stranger from the street. So we understand that in our relationships, there are different standards. How I provide for my kids is different than how I provide for, I don't know, for somebody else. Yeah, like that. It's just like very different. Even like in my cheder, like there is a level of accessibility and a level of my commitment people get when they become our students, because I feel achrayus, so they go on a different category as opposed to a child on the street. Yeah, not that I have anything against children on the street, but in my mind, in my awareness, in my structure, we have different categories of people. We have close friends. We have very close friends. Yeah, and then we have acquaintances, and then we have people that we know, and then we have this, and then we have that, and then we have this, right? And then we have complete strangers. Then we have enemies, right? Then we have really bad enemies, right? So like that structure. So the same way is with us and Hashem. as our awareness grows with Hahispaalus, that's how it grows. So now over here, and over here, I did not see that in the text, but I could put it stranger. Stranger, meaning there is no personalization yet. Okay, so now levels of soul here is going to be nefesh, the first level. Okay, nefesh. And why this color? I'm sorry. My screen just went blank. Do you still see things on my screen?
Yeah, we still see the chart.
You see, you still okay, but for me, it just went black. Okay. Nefesh. Achasi is going to be ruach. Okay. Ruach. Rayasi, my beloved one, is going to be what? Is going to be neshama. Okay. Yanasi is going to be chaya. And Tamasi, my twin, is going to be Yechida. Isn't it? It's beautiful. What's Yechida stands for? What's the translation of the word Yechida?
I think like singular, like one.
Yeah, united, one. But it's more than united. It's there's Echad and then there's Yachid. Right? So Echad allows different parts, but these parts are united. Yachid is the only one. This is my twin, right? So the relationship between me and my twin, like it's identical twins, they have same DNA, completely same DNA. That's why they look the same. They look exactly the same. Have you ever had identical twins? It's a very scary thing. If you had close relationship with identical twins, they could get away with murder. They look exactly the same. They talk the same. You know what I'm talking about? It's a very scary reality. And they don't even have moles. Like they just exactly the same. And they're exactly same size, exactly same shape. You know, the manners of how they talk is like as if it's like the same person, but just in two bodies. Very interesting. The only reason, if you happen to know them very well, one of them is maybe more talkative, one of them is more reserved, you know? So it's more like about the personality that you could get a clue of how different they are. They're obviously two different people and two different souls. But it's interesting, but they are very connected with each other. Like they are so attuned on a superconscious level that if there are studies that are done that somebody was going through, you know, difficulty in another country, those twins that were separated at birth, and they would feel certain things during particular times, and it's just very, very spooky. Anyway, okay, now on the level of nefesh, right? On the level of nefesh, we said that it was a cold thought, machshavat kara. Why it's called machshava kara? Cold thoughts. Why it's called thoughts? Why is it? Well, it's called thought because imagine somebody has a wealth. You know that somebody won a lottery, but it's somebody. It's not you. So you can feel good for them, but I mean you're not jumping up and down because of this. Why? Because why should you? It's their treasure, not yours. Right? So now the same thing is on this level is that the awareness is that Hashem is a great guy, obviously, that's amazing. But I did not develop a relationship yet. That's why it's still a stranger, right? Like it's not my Hashem. It's not my, like I don't have a personal relationship with it yet. But the way it manifests, what the person decides, right, is haskem chazak, strong resolution to act according to Torah. Torah, no, we're not going to do that. This is like huge. According to Torah, okay, strong resolution to keep, we're going to put it like that, trying to minimize the amount, to keep Torah mitzvahs. Yeah, and that's on the level of nefesh, and we're going to put over here, right? It's action. It's very action-oriented. It's action. It's not complicated. Just simple action. All what you need to do. You know, like the Alter Rebbe recently in Tanya said, "Kikarav alecha hadavar me'oid b'ficha u'bilbavcha la asoisoi." It's very easy for you to do, very close for you to do, and you're like, what? Yeah, in your mind and in your heart to do. To do, it's very easy. Oh, you're talking about love and fear of Hashem. That's not easy. But to action, to do is very easy. Well, how long it takes you? Just go into it. Just put that coin in the tzedakah. Just do it. Right? So that action is very easy. But understanding and feeling, that's where we're already getting into this long way that Alter Rebbe is describing to us. But on a level of action, no problem. Then we rise the level, and that's the level it's called machshava tova. Machshava tova is a good thought. Huh? Okay. Why is a good thought? It's a good thought that it's already warm. It's enough for the person to feel excited, more or less on an intensity level, how we feel excited about our siblings. Why are we getting excited about our siblings? Because it's our blood. There's some kind of connection, but it's not a connection that we are like, oh my gosh. It's like, we have a sister, we have a brother. It's not like between husband and wife. Yeah, it's not like a romance. We know each other. She'll come to my house, ask for sleeping. I'll open my door. I'll go visit her for her son's bar mitzvah. She'll come for my this, for my that, meaning there is a relationship, but it's not a relationship where my heart jumps. Okay? It's smooth. It's unified. I'm not talking about when there's fights between the siblings and they don't talk with each other for a few years. I'm talking about a regular relationship, not traumatized relationship. Okay, not toxic. You know, normal. So that's the level of ruach, right? And what's ruach? Ruach, these are the level of emotions, okay, that directly result for action. Okay? So that's my system. Now, then there is a level of, it's a fancy one, right? It's pulchana de rechimnuta, right? It's love and fear. It's, this one, we could call it machshava tova. It's love and fear intellectual, right? Because this is still the level of the thought. This is not where we feel things in the heart yet, not yet. Okay, this level, the third level, it's called love and fear in the heart, revealed. And for that, it was pulchana de rechimnuta. Fancy word. Okay. We have pulchana de rechimnuta. To keep things in the right size. This one is love and fear in the mind. Okay. Then unati is on the level of, okay, if we put it here, world, one blank, worlds, okay. This is on the level of ICM. This is Yetzira. This is Bria. This is Atzilus. And this is Atmos. Kavana of the heart. Kavana Shibalev. Okay, Shibalev. Okay. And the Yechida is Ratzon Pashut. Simple will. Okay, as we just did. Kavana Shibalev. So now, how are they manifest? This is very essential. So now, on the level of Machshava Karam, it's a strong resolution to keep Torah and mitzvahs. Here, a person moved emotionally to the extent of action. Okay, meaning it's not like oh my gosh. It's like, okay, I'm ready to do. The action becomes more enthusiastic. Here, it's Hashem, a person is fully on the level of 3, Rayosi, my beloved one. I'm fully invested in my heart. Full revelation in the heart. That's number one. Then there's another one. Is b'chein. Because of b'chein. Who knows what b'chein is? It's a conclusion. Okay. Now, Kavana Shabalev is different. Okay. Kavana Shabalev, the more I am doing his binah, or here we could do stop his binah, stops his binah, derives b'chein. Yes, that's would be. Derives b'chein. Full revelation in the heart. Now here, continues his binah. Okay, the more there is binah, the more there is Hahispaalus. And he says something very, very interesting about this level. That a person does not fall from this level already. Very interesting. Okay. Any questions up until this? This one is above intellect. Very interesting. A very interesting level. The is looks like it even commands intellect, above intellect. It commands intellect. Okay. Okay. That's where we got up until this point. So the fifth level is the level of Ratzon Pashut, the simple will. And this is where we at. Any questions for this? What are we doing?
Can you access the I guess like the manifestation of the Yechida and the above intellect, or just something that happens to you?
No, yeah, you could access it for sure. That's the Hahispaalus process. All this in our animal soul is being activated through Hahispaalus. We cannot. Our animal soul will not change if we don't contemplate. It will not do it. Why should she do it? The first chapter talks about it. Like, she has a nice life. I mean, this world keeps her very busy. How exactly she's gonna trigger this whole she's not gonna do it. She doesn't need to do it. She could live like a guy. She doesn't need to do it.
And we're not talking about the godly soul yet, right?
What?
We're not talking about the godly soul.
Why not? 5 level of Hahispaalus of the Nefesh HaTivis. Why? Because she decides to do his binah. Her awareness changes. So now once she starts her Hahispaalus process, the mind is impressing, right? The mind already has the element of the godly soul there because of the intellectual soul. The Alter Rebbe says that the Nefesh Elokis dwells in the mind. Okay, so that's why we could direct our thoughts where we want them to be. We may not necessarily have full control of our hearts, that we know very well, right? Because the heart is being shared. Now, with the mind, we could. And that's how binah operates. So now, with that being said, the mind is being that, that element of this, of his binah. She comes to realization, number one, oh, there's a God in the world. Okay, so now I'm not the center of the universe. There's a God. Wow. At the same time, there's this pain. I don't have the mind to understand, and I don't have the brain to conceptualize, and I don't have the heart to feel. I'm numb. On the first level, a person does not feel anything. But he makes the resolution, a strong resolution. Okay, I don't have the mind, I don't have the heart, but at least I know how to do. So I'm taking things simple. I need to keep this. I'm doing this. This is what I'm doing. That's it. Okay, so it doesn't go into this whole rationale. Do I feel like it? I don't feel like it. It's out of the question. This is what needs to be done. I'm doing it. Okay, that's this level. Now, on the level of achaisi, level of ruach, level of machshava tova, right? A person is moved emotional to the extent of action. Right? Machshava tova, kadosh baruch hu mitzaref l'maaseh. Here, this is already a great deal of movement. Here, a person already have done enough. He's boinanos. He has already level of tfuna. This is already love and fear in the mind, intellectual love and fear. Okay, a person already has a certain degree of grasp, but because of the narrowness of his neck, well, some people don't have such narrow necks, but some people do. He decides that, not the decides, but he does not really able to feel in his heart. So he doesn't have that. He doesn't have that feeling in the heart. So now the third level, that's where the actual move is taking place, where it's an amazing level, where whatever him is boining on, to whatever depth of the degree, it reflects in the heart, but it goes through a little hurdle. What's the hurdle about? He has to stop his isbaininus. Okay, he has to stop his isbaininus, derive a conclusion, and that conclusion becomes the moichin. But it's the moichin, the katnos. Okay, it's the level of the soul pulchan derechemnuta, and he has derived b'chein. It's moichin the katnos, right? It's moichin the katnos. Okay, moichin the katnos. It's a small already brain. It's a limited brain. Okay, now this one, you cannot fall from this level. The level, it's actually a very, very high level. It's on the level of Atzilus. The more the person does his boinanos, the more his mind opens up. Okay, and the more it reflects in the heart. There's no obstacles. There's no either or. I either do his boinanos and do not feel myself, or I stop my isbinanos, get the small intellect, feel the emotions, and this is not either or. Okay? It's and. Okay? And this level is and. Okay, the relationship is and. I'm not giving up anything. Okay, I could do this, and I also could do that. There is no contradiction, right? So like it's actually a very interesting analogy given. It says in Torah that, and a person specifically talks about a man has to leave his father and mother to marry his wife. Okay, that means his relationship with his parents affects negatively his relationship with his wife. Okay, that's the level number 3. He has to leave his father and mother. Who are his father and mother? It's his chochmah and binah, is the process of his binah. He has to leave the process of his binah so he could connect with his wife and bear children. Okay, these are going to be his emotions. But we don't. On the level number 4, it's not a contradiction, his relationship with his parents versus his relationship with his wife. He could have an amazing relationship with his parents and an amazing relationship with his wife. It's 2 separate things. They're not. Moreover, the more I have positive relationship with my parents, the more it positively will affect my relationship with the wife. And it's interesting because there are people like this. There's no dichotomy anymore. There's no either or. It's and. The more I do his binah, the more Hahispaalus I will have in my heart. I don't have to choose. I don't have to stop anything. It's a flow. In the world of Atzilus, it's a little flow. I don't need to go up in order to come down. The more I go up, the results will come down. So it's that very interesting thing. And then obviously this is the level of Atzmos, which is a whole new level. The level of Ratzon Pashut, right? It's a simple Ratzon. And this level is a very fun level, right? Where I don't do his binah. Why? Because I only need to want. And everything just comes down, right? That's it. I only need to want. I don't need to do his binah. I am his binah.
But you can't start there though.
I don't know. We don't know we all on that level. It's just we lack the consciousness of that level. So therefore we can benefit from this level. Okay, we know it intellectually, but we don't really know it. Okay. So it's like, we don't experience it. So we know it intellectually of such a level exists. Okay, who is there? I don't know. Is there? So tell me, I'll go to them. And obviously the tzaddikim on that level, but I guess simple people like me, we need to go through bottom up. Need to work through that resistance because, you see, with Nefesh Bahamis, she doesn't want to be there. It's not like you have a first choice that she's like so desperate to know God. Nefesh Bahamis is not desperate to know God. Okay, it's Nefesh Elokis's problem. Nefesh Elokis longing. Where's Hashem? I feel so bad in this world. The restrictions of this body, blah blah blah. Right? That's not Nefesh Bahamis' problem. Nefesh Bahamis is excited about this world. Oh my gosh, we're gonna go on this trip. Oh my gosh, we're gonna earn money. Oh my gosh, we're gonna buy this house. Oh my gosh, we're gonna eat this pizza. It's very excited about this world. She doesn't understand the issues of Nefesh Elokis. Concealment, this and that. Come on, go outside. Look at these rivers. Look how much fun. Let's go take vacation. This is all Nefesh Bahamis speaking, by the way. This is not Nefesh Elokis. Let's enjoy life. And then you're like, wait a second. Nefesh Elokis looks like, oh my gosh, you're so engrossed in this gashmias. You don't understand. There's Hashem in the world. And all this spirituality, we're connecting with Hashem, and I feel so lonely here. Who needs all the riches? Who needs all the big houses? If only I could see the face of Hashem, right? Who do you think sings Tamal Hanapshi? Not Nefesh Bahamis. Tamal Hanapshi, Nefesh Elokis, a pure statement of Nefesh Elokis, right? Kain b'kodesh hazisicha, right? How I saw you in this level of kodesh, right? Where are you now? You're putting me in this world completely estranged. I don't want to be here. Leave me alone. I'm disgusted. Okay. So then how in the world is Nefesh Bahamis, such a coarse animal, will decide to want to have Hashem? That's where the shift begins. It's through his binah. Okay. only through the mind. And that's the derech that Alter Rebbe opened up of Chabad. That it's through the mind the nefesh habahamis will start moving and knowing God. Interestingly, when she's going to start doing it, she's going to open up all these amazing things. And also the nefesh elokis will be moving in her awareness in God as well. There's going to be shifts in her as well. And that's the next chapter. What are the 5 shifts that's happening in the nefesh elokis?
So
because she also has well. Go ahead.
When we say the simple will, are we talking about simple will to know Hashem? Are we talking about just simple will? Because then that could also be like, I want to go to the big house by the beach.
I want to know Hashem because I don't know him, right?
But maybe the Nefesh Bahamas learns to know Hashem like through the world.
Fine, but she's not there. Like, why would somebody want to have money? Because they don't have, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would I want to drink? Because my body is dehydrated. I want to drink water. So wanting something from a place of lack usually comes from a place of lack, right? So now that's what he's saying. The level of Ratzon Pashut, there is no lack. It's just a will. It's a simple will. So now my question here, why it's not Oneg and why it's Ratzon? That's my question to Reb Hillel. I didn't get an answer yet to that. Because the ultimately would be the Oneg is Oneg in Hashem, right? That's the ultimate level. Is Oneg in Hashem. That's would seem to be totally fine, would fit in here. So I'm wondering why it's yet Ratzon Pashut. It's a simple, it's a state of being. On this level, it's no longer intellect. It's a state of being. You see, whatever that is, whatever the neshama is thriving, there is no need intellect. It commands intellect. You see, that's where people get a lot of confused because with a lot of new age information out there in the world, right? People that discusses the state of being, right? People want that level, but at the same time, it's not a switch. The state of being has a gateway, and the gateway is through the intellect. But at the same time, you don't want to be stuck there because the point is not to become intellectual. The point is to be connected to God. Okay, so the intellect is a tool. So it's in a way is an essential tool because otherwise you're on the other side of the river, not knowing how to cross. You need to have a boat, right? You need to have the sticks. But at the same time, the boat is not about your destination, right? But you need that boat to cross because that's the only thing. I mean, you're not going to buy, I don't know, a radio. Radio is not going to help you to cross the river. Radio will help you for other things. But there's a specific tool that is designed for you to cross the river. You could have radio, you could have TV, you could have whatever you want. You could have a cup. There are many tools for different uses, right? So the tool.
Can you give me an example of what a Ratzon Pashut is?
It's just I am who I am. There's no name. There's no identity. My identity is my God. You understand? Where I am a twin, where I'm a co-creator, where I'm literally a twin of God. There's no division. There's a complete yichud, a complete unity. Not in a way of achdus, in a way of yichud. Achdus meaning there's me, there is you, and we are united. Right? But then there's this level where there's me and you is the same thing.
So how do you benefit from this Ratzon Pashut?
Well, apparently everything streams out of it. So everything, all the benefits are coming from it. It's the essence of your soul. What do you mean, how you benefit? If there's no essence, there's nothing. It's like if these, imagine like us asking, how are we benefiting from the sun? Well, if you take away the sun, you will have no light in the world. Everything comes from it, right? It's not that it's so, the ray of the sun is not separated from the sun. It doesn't have its own existence. There is a concept, a ray of the sun. There is no ray of the sun. The ray of the sun exists because there's a sun. The minute you take away the sun or the connection to the sun, there's no ray cannot independently exist past an obstacle. Right? That's it. Let's say somebody will walk, I don't know, hypothetically, is going to put like this big platform blocking sun from Earth. Let's imagine. Elon Musk will have this weird idea to control Russia. I don't know what. Is going to travel all the way. Let's imagine if the sun is static. Yeah? It's not moving. It's just static in one place and shines from that place. Okay. And it's going to put this big, huge platform that's going to block the sunlight. So that part of the world will simply not have sunlight. That's it. Like clouds, right? Thick clouds. Sunlight cannot go through to them. There is no like an independent ray that will say, oh, I feel so bad for people on Earth. Let me fly under and I will still illuminate that piece of Earth. That's a wild concept. It's non-existent, right? So the same thing is with us. The nefesh exists because of Yechida. The ruach exists because of Yechida. It's like an essential cause for everything to exist. The lower levels cannot exist without the essential level. So the question is, what?
They exist within the essential level also?
Oh, for sure. They don't have the independent power. That's the funny part. Everything comes from it. But if you open the essence, there is no like place. All these levels become to us is because there is less and less illumination from the essence. Does that make sense? Like how the world of Bria exists, because there's a tzimtzum between this and that. Okay, there is like a curtain. So there's less revelation. Okay, so there is less light. So therefore, the more formation can exist. Yeah. Let's imagine Hashem is going to fully reveal himself right in front of us. Are you going to have doubts? No, your doubts exist because there is a lack of revelation, right? Imagine we have an appointment with you. We're meeting in chocolate at 7 o'clock, right? All the time that you don't see me, you're going to doubt. Is she going to come? Is she not going to come? Is she going to come? Is she not going to come? Will she come? Will she not come? Right? Although I told you, Sarah, I'm going to come for sure, 100%. I'm going to be there. But you know, he's a human being. It's okay. Is she going to come? Is she not going to come? Right? So you're going to have doubts. But the minute you're going to see me, are you going to still doubt me? No. So, okay, she's here. That's it. Right? So the same thing is with any revelation. Revelation is in your face. You're not going to doubt. You're not going to be sitting drinking coffee with me and say, is Mila here? Is it her? Is it not her? Why? Because I'm in your face. I'm right here. I'm present. And we are talking. So there's no doubt. So the doubt, the whole klipa is like a shadow. What's a shadow? Shadow doesn't have its own, like there's no matzias of shadow. Shadow is not something that I could take, put in my pocket. Right? What's a shadow? Is an absence of light. Let's imagine the light is going to shine everywhere. There's no room for shadow. Like, that's like, I don't know. What time is it? Chatzos, right? When there's no shadow. The sun is right on top of you. So there's no shadow. So once there's no shadow, that's full revelation. There's no void of revelation. Because ultimately there's no void of existence of God in any levels. Like right now we are talking, like the guy is listening, okay? To every single word. It's like there's no void of God. It's a void of revelation of God. But Hashem is here just as he is in any other world, essentially present. But then we're like sitting and having a discussion about him, right? About whatever, yeah, about it. Why? Because we don't see him. You are more real than the reality of God, right? Because we know of God, but it's more on some kind of interesting way. Our neshama seeing God, our essence is one with God. Okay, our nefesh Bahamas was told about God. They're not necessarily experiencing, right? So the only level that has full revelation of the essence of God is the level of Yechid. Okay, here we are. Kuntres Hahispaalus, chapter 2. I think we're done with chapter 2. That's where it ends.
Nice.
Yeah. I like how it maps out things, you know?
Yeah. But practically, I'm just wondering, like, how does this help you to know all this stuff?
Well, first of all, when you start doing his bonus, right? Things will start shifting. It's not, it's a live system, right? There's absolutely no way a person is going to stimulate something in the mind and it will not have some kind of effect. It's impossible, right? Like with diet, you start, like there's so much of us is of what we eat and what we drink. There's absolutely no way that a person is going to be eating only, I don't know, potato chips and Coke, and absolutely nothing will be happening with the body. Right? It's a crazy concept, right? That we keep telling our kids don't eat unhealthy, and all that. Why? Because it has literally everything what's inside of you operates like on a physical level with what you put in it, period. If you put in it garbage, it has to operate with garbage. Obviously, you're going to have garbage results. If you want to put quality product, it's going to build quality results. It's very simple. I cannot give my workers a cheap cement and not expect it to crumble. It's a bizarre idea. Right? So the same thing is with our body, with our thoughts. If I'm putting a very potent godly thoughts in my mind systematically, day after day, there's going to be certain things happening to me. Right? So Kuntres Hahispaalus helps us to understand what is happening. Where are you? Right? Personal answers, where you stand. What is your level? Right? Like where you could know, you could recognize because you know the symptoms, more or less. You could figure out. I think I'm somewhere in there, I don't think I'm a cold thought. I think it's a little bit, I don't think I was ever there. That's what I could say. So then you have a map of how to move over that.
How do you move?
His bonus. The bottom line, it's his bonus. That's a shallow, because what will change our awareness? How do you think? It's like a miraculous situation going to happen? It's just going to be like, well, enlightening, like, oh, like from nowhere? No. Like, for example, imagine somebody goes on a diet and he's not losing weight. What do you think that means? There is a solution for it. maybe it's hormonal changes, maybe ta-da-da, but then there's always a very solution that's universal, that works among all diets. It's a universal fact. Input, output. The bottom line is a calorie. Are you in calorie deficit or not? It's true people have all these novel ideas, there's 1,000 different diets, blah, blah, blah. But even in keto, like whatever it is, if you eat so much fat that it's over what you metabolize, you're going to live a healthy life, but you're not going to lose weight. Do you understand? There's a nakuda. It's with all amazing theories. The bottom line is a universal, is your input and output. So meaning like there's an essential idea about the weight loss. There's an essential idea about how to create wealth. There's an essential idea. There's a lot of fluff around it, but then you'll notice there is this one thing, like also about the wealth, right? If you're spending all the time more than what you earn, you know what's gonna happen. It's like a law. And it doesn't matter how much you earn. It really doesn't matter. Because if you all the time, every time your income bracket rises, your spending rise with it, you're not saving any money, just earning more. Okay, good luck for you. But you're not saving anything. So the whole concept of saving is that when you have that control, okay, where you could live your spending to a comfortable level, and then obviously you start earning more, but you spend same level, maybe a little bit more. So your Nefesh Bahamas feels excited about it. Okay, but you cannot completely all the time spend all the money that you earn. So there's no millions of dollars will ever stay in your pocket because you're literally spending. Because you're literally spending the amount of money that you're earning. So that's what I'm trying to say. There's an essential law with everything. So the same thing is here. We cannot expect Hahispaalus of now our Nefesh Bahamas if we don't do our meditations. It's just not going to happen, because there is a flow of the world, right? There are thoughts. Thoughts have frequency. Everybody's thinking in a certain way. There's absolutely no way, if a person is not purposefully is in control of his thinking, he's not going to be swayed with a flow. It's just like asking impossible, right? It's like you're flowing through the river. If you're not moving like that against, and you're focused and you know exactly where you're going, you're going to be you're not going to make it across. You're going to make it who knows where, right? A few miles away. Because the river is flowing, right? And the more people think around you, the more it's just going to be this chaos. So if you want to be something different than the world is right now, you have to do something different and really stay with it, you know?
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's where his binah fits in, because Hashem is right now demanding of us another level, not what it was before. Right? And we see this with sichas of Tafshin and Al, Tafshin and Beis, where the Rebbe is completely off, telling us things where anybody who studies the sichas inside, they were like, whoa, this was never heard before. It's a completely different level. So obviously he asks us, like, okay, you got to change your tools. Like this has to be, because to embody Geula, you need to be on a different level. It's a different level of awareness. It's not your ordinary thinking that we have used and habituated ourselves to think. Generationally. It's not the only our generation. But our generation is given a task which is a little bit harder. And we see much less, right? We don't see what even people saw before Gimel Tammuz, right? It's just like we feel that there's this kind of like a gap, like this is empty space where we expected something, and many of us feel like lack of guidance. Because before you would just like call 770, I have this issue, tell me exactly, and you would speak to a human being, the secretary. There was something, it was more concrete. It was very concrete. Now we are left to this esoteric space where everybody tries to navigate based on their choshim, Maybe this is what it is. We are moving up levels where it's no longer concrete. Do you know what I mean? It's no longer defined.
It gives you a chance to reach higher.
Yeah. Because, everybody's working with energies because the energies are shifting and the world is picking up. And I just feel like I would picking it up, with Chassidus.
So this work is, no?
That's what it is, exactly.
Yeah.
That's where, but the thing is like, are we really disciplined? Or are we just approaching it from a theoretical point?
Well, do you sit and do these?
What?
Yeah. Do you sit and do these bonus? You have a time like you sit and you
I try.
Can I how long? What does it look like? Like you sit there.
The times that I do it properly, it really varies, but the time that I do it properly, I see all the time amazing results. Yeah.
What do you mean by do it properly? 10 minutes, 15 minutes?
There is no time. I don't look at the watch, It's like because you cannot do that, because once you become conscious of time, then then you're not doing it. Then you're doing it something different.
And what you've learned so far in the Shara Yichud is enough, to do this.
Oh, for sure. Right now, what we've done, yeah, for sure. Especially the way the Frierdiker Rebbe describes. At least that, you learn a concept, you learn it well enough, and then you just, reach the level that's beyond letters. That ways the concept is in itself. For example, like you work with nutrition, right? How long does it take you to study enough diets to figure out about input and output? Just this concept. It's a very short. What?
Nutrition. It's not about nutrition. I never studied nutrition.
Oh, you never studied? Okay. Whatever. Let's imagine, right? Like I said, how long does it take? It takes time. You learn about this diet, and then you compare and contrast. And then you figure out that ultimately they all say the same thing. They say one nakuda that is exactly the same in all of them. You understand? So that's the nakuda of the chochmah, of that concept. And then you look at it, and then you're like, okay, you will start understanding how there is this one essential point that everything else comes out of it. You understand? It's like, the saying, tell me how you do anything, I'll tell you how you do everything. How is that?
No. Maybe because that's like the person themselves.
Yeah, even on a personal level. Just tell me how you operate your home. I'll tell you how you operate your business. Tell me how you work out your differences with your kids or with your spouse. You do everything like that. It's a way of thinking. It's not like good or wrong. It's not about a judgment. It's about how we go about things. Right?
But you were trying to do his bonus of getting to know Hashem, and Hashem is
exactly
unknowable. So what are you going to get to it? and experience. Right?
First of all, you transcend the limitations of the nefesh Bahamas. That's the goal. Because the nefesh Bahamas is born naturally with all kinds of limitations. Okay. It also has in it the limitations of the world, because its main focal point is to take care of the body in this world, because the body exists only in this world, right? So for the nefesh Bahamas, but at the same time, the nefesh Bahamas comes from a very, very high source. It comes from an even higher source than the soul. That's why in the times of Mashiach, when there's a full revelation, the body will nurture the soul. How is that possible? Because her source is going to be revealed. So what we're trying to do is like, there is this code in the body that's external, and then there's an internal code, right? So what we want to do is we want to strip away all the worldly limitations so she can reach her unlimited potential that is higher than the soul.
Yeah, we're going to do that. And now, like, before Mashiach comes?
Oh, for sure. That's what the Rebbe keeps screaming, all Tafshin and all Tafshin and base. That's how frustrating it is for the Rebbe, that people don't get it. It takes 30 years to process what the Rebbe said back then, and now everybody said, oh, did you see this? Did you see? Where people were 30 years ago. Yeah, because it was just so beyond the generation that people wouldn't see these things. You know, there has to be a concealment of 30 years for people to revisit, because what happens? We don't revisit sikhis. The Rebbe is saying every week sikha, every 2 weeks, every 2 times a week sikha. It's something new. Who's going to go look at old things? When you have 30 years of pause, what do you think people do? They want to have a relationship with the Rebbe. They're going to go back to the sikha. They're going to go back to the sikha. How many times people study Tafshin and Aleph, Tafshin and Beis Sikhis? 30 times at least, right? With 30-year cycles. Oh, do you understand? They finally get it. Because there's no rush. That's his boinanos. That's exactly what his boinanos does. There's no fast. You go back to the same old text and you read it again and again and again and again. And then you strip away the letters, right? And you go to the essence. What is the Rebbe talking about? And then you're like, oh my gosh. And you come up with this interesting klal where you didn't see the first time. You didn't see the second time. Yeah, it was just like kind of like letters, concept, tzukim, you know, and you kind of would come out with this klalistic idea like, oh, Hashem is everything, everything is Hashem. Well, that was last maamar too. You know, like what's the chiddush? Like, how is it different then? Well, I also heard the Mittel Rebbe said that, and you know, this Rebbe said that Rebbe said, it's like, what? So why are we saying it again? Like, how is you know what I mean? And then we just like kind of like move from place to place. It's like, oh, and then there's a new sikha, and then there's a new sikha. But now, no, there's no new sikhas. Go back. And in a way, as painful it is, I think it's a big favor for us. So we could actually sit and internalize what we should have been internalizing 30 years ago. But some of us were not around, you know, and some of us were so excited about some kind of cosmic revelation. And it didn't happen. Because a cosmic revelation is not going to happen outside of us. It's supposed to happen inside. And for that to happen inside, we need to do things. We need to move our brain and to, you know, it's
Well, what do you think would be a good hishtadlus? Each person has to do their own. Let's say like me, I'm starting out, right? What would be like a good hishtadlus for this avodas hasechel?
Go back to first and second chapter.
Yeah. Okay, I hear it.
Yeah. Because I'll tell you, you know how to write. You know how to write?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So what do you do when you write? In the beginning, there's something which is called keyhole, right? It goes like this. And then like this. I mean, my teacher taught me this. And it's interesting.
Yeah, this I don't know. Yeah.
It's about the keyhole. The first you have to lay out in your first 5-6 sentences the point. What is this about? What this chapter about? What the story about? What this article is about, right? And then you expand with a bunch of details. And then there's a conclusion where you revisit your first thesis, but through the lens of all the details that you printed, right? So it's like, more or less, you're bringing them to the same conclusion, right? So that's the story. The story is that the first 2 chapters, he is kind of like telling us the whole thing of the whole Shara Yichud. Shara Yichud has 53 chapters. You understand? So now, like, do yourself a favor. Just study it because you're going to get that only after 53 chapters, you know? Will you hold on? So just do your first 3 chapters. This one you'll have the clarity about where he's going, what the whole shtick is about. Like, what is whole is bonus? Where am I reaching? How am I reaching it? He answers all these essential questions that every normal student will have, right? Like, hey, what are we doing here? First chapter. You know, and then out of that, you kind of, you know, we're going into pratim now. We're going into details now. So, but you need to know the cloud, the general picture, right? So general picture is given first 2 chapters. First chapter is how Iyun, the analysis, the hisbonenus, brings you to binah liba, right? Which is the binah of Atik Yomin. He maps out very nicely the whole process. And the second chapter talks about how you, through the hisbonenus, simultaneously reach your heart. It's good to know, right? You need to know what's happening and how it's actually being done. So it's not just like a theory, like, oh, I'm doing hisbonenus. What actually happens.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, Sarah. Great.
Yeah.
It was nice having you. You definitely kept me a good company here.
Oh, good. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it very much. It was nice for me.
Sure, beautiful. Much hatzlacha. And I'll see you on Sunday.
That's Hashem. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.